A lot of the teams that I'm working with and supporting, even from our quarterly meetings or one-on-one meetings or just talking to the founders, we're looking at ways of not just leveraging AI, but implementing and embedding it across the entire ecosystem. However, as leaders, when you start talking about this to your team, there might be fear, there might be contraction, there might be an approach like, is my job going to be replaced? So I want to discuss some of the major thinking and principles around how to implement AI with your team without making them worry that you're looking to replace them. There are essentially only three areas of your business that matter to deliver impact and drive value to the marketplace. The first is your sales and marketing to get the clients. Then it's your product department to fulfill on whatever the promise is, to serve clients and retain clients and ascend clients and then refer more clients. And then you have your operations, which supports all departments within the organization. When we embed AI or automation or low-level reasoning or tasks that can be automated or supported, it focuses around those three key areas. Now, here's another fact. AI will not replace you. It'll only amplify you and your team. And I think you can use that verbatim because if you think about it that way versus it's going to replace what I currently do, it's going to amplify what I'm currently doing to do something that I couldn't do before. It actually relieves the stress of people thinking, oh, am I going to be replaced? Are you looking to take away my role? But the inverse is also true. If a task or a role that you have is automated through AI, it begs the question, is that task or role actually valuable? Should you still have it? Should we reconsider? Should we evolve that task or role? So you might be like most of my private clients who are looking to actively embed AI their marketing, their fulfillment, their product, and their sales qualifications, in their operations, administrative tasks. Here's a framework that I like to share with you that kind of helps you outline where and how to identify those key areas to start embedding artificial intelligence, low-level reasoning, high-level reasoning, APIs, the whole nine. All right, so first things first, you have to identify your highest-level tasks. If you don't know what these are, here's the exact, I'm going to read this exactly what I do every single week to reflect what are my high-level tasks and what are the things that I should be focusing on and that only I can do. And so here's what I reflect on every single week. What is 80-20, meaning the 20% of input that drives 80% of the performance? What is a must do versus a nice to do? And which tasks can be delegated and which tasks should be eliminated? Out of all the things you did this week, what is the number one thing that drove the most impact or drove the most results with you, the team, the company, your personal life? What is that one thing? And literally boil it down to that one thing and then repeat that question 3 times. So you have the top 3 things you did this week. If you eliminated everything else, and only focused on those 1 to 3 things, how would your life, how would the business, how would the operations, how would the sales, how would the fulfillment, how would the product change? And imagine, what would it look like if you only did those 3 things? So then your goal is to focus on only those 1 to 3 things every single day. This goes for every department, every team, because now we do have the luxury and the abundance to be able to focus on that with this technology. The second is to map your daily habits, translating your team's processes and routines into either visual steps or documentation, where you can actually see exactly this particular habit that drives this KPI for the organization is done by these procedures. It can be a flow chart, it can be a SOP, doesn't matter. What matters are, here are the things that we need to do to make these KPIs true based on our department. That matters for the client, for the business, for our longevity. Here's what we need to do every single day, mapping that out. Now, the third is to identify where should we start embedding this technology? Where can we create low-level reasoning? Where can we embed research? Where can we scrape data or analyze data? Where can we have deep research? Where do we have these needs in our company to accelerate what we currently do? And then from there, you refine it. Wherever AI ends, this is where the human begins. How do we leverage what it gave us, qualify it and verify it? Because it's not always true. Having those verification layers and quality assurance layers, and then from there, identifying, is the final output good or worse than what we're currently doing? How do we improve that to be current status? And how do we improve that to be better status, where we can do things where we couldn't do before? Now, this is where we start offloading maybe some of the low-level tasks or some of the things that, were not so low level, or actually taking just hours to do that you can now do in 20 minutes. 20, 30 minutes, that could save you potentially anywhere from 5 to 10 hours. But this is where I really want to focus on leveraging the technology to have your team do not just what they currently were doing, but what they have the potential of doing. And it is up to you to identify that potential and really work for them to see that vision and enabling them not to just be replaced, because replacement is easy. Replacement's regressive, replacement's looking backwards, but keep at the certain level, your level of excellence, and identify what is the potential that we're missing out on because we're stuck doing things manually that we shouldn't be doing manually, stuck doing things longer that we could actually get done faster, stuck accepting a certain reality where our quality is based on a certain capacity of our brain power and throughput, and leveraging technology to increase that throughput and capacity. So it's that kind of thinking, not just replacing looking backwards, but creating a net new of what's potential. And that's the excitement, because when you start sharing that with your team, they're not going to be replaced, and you don't want to replace your team. Frankly, you probably want to figure out how can I do even more with our existing team without overworking, without stressing out, without harming the work-life balance, and being able to achieve new records. That's how you implement AI with your team without having them worry about being replaced.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you'd like to get more of these podcasts, please go ahead and subscribe to wherever you're watching or listening to the pod. If you have any suggestions or questions that you want me to answer on the pod, or you have a guest that you want me to interview, please go ahead and email me all of your suggestions and questions at podcast@dogoodwork.io. That's podcast@dogoodwork.io. If you'd like to give me public feedback, you can go on Apple Podcasts, and from there you can leave up to a 5-star review. I would greatly appreciate that. If you like more free resources where you can get my best strategies to help you increase your company's performance and scale profitably, you can get handpicked articles to propel your growth, and you can get trainings and discussions that I give freely online, as well as low-cost resources such as my books and guides. You can get all of that by going to dogoodwork.io/free-growth-resources. 90% of all of these resources are not behind any email opt-ins. You can get instant access by going to dogoodwork.io/free-growth-resources. Now, if you'd like to accelerate your progress and shorten the gap between information and action and start seeing results in your business, let's work together to increase your company's performance and scale profitably and serve more clients without the overwhelm. You can request a free clarity call to see how we can best support you to reach your goals by going to dogoodwork.io/apply. Again, that's dogoodwork.io/apply. As always, it's an honor to be a small part in your journey. This is Raul Hernandez. Do good work.